Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 211 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. In this show, we'll present the drill of the week, talk about Alois's coaching camp in Fiji, and discuss the Olympic qualification process. In the questions, we'll talk about adjusting your forehand for different length balls, what serves to use against funny rubber, how to prepare for the next ball, and the frustration of losing against players with no form. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And it's been a big week, Jeff. Been a big week. We've been both out and about, and so I headed off to Fiji during the week for about 4 or 5 days. Very, very exciting project happening out in the Oceania region in the Pacific, where para table tennis is really being encouraged and developed. And I was there running a camp for players from 9 different countries, 24 players, 14 coaches there, all really keen, all really willing to learn. So it was just a really good experience, and really nice to see the development of para table tennis now in the region.
Fantastic. So what were some of the other countries involved?
There was Fiji, Samoa, Solomon Islands, there was Australia and New Zealand, and then a whole lot of other countries from around the Pacific. So really, really good to see. And players with all different disability levels, from players in the wheelchairs, so classes 1 to 5, right up to class 8s and 9s. So more functionality in their bodies, able to move a bit better. So really good. And the exciting part is that there are a lot more players out there, and the prospects look really good for developing para table tennis in Oceania.
Excellent. Well, good work, Alois. While you were hard at work there, I was relaxing down at the beach, down at Anglesey in Victoria. Great place. Played some beach cricket while I was there. So, that was fun. Although, Alois, yesterday, Australia played India in the T20 match. It was Australia Day and Republic Day for India. And unfortunately, India flogged us.
Yes, they certainly did. India on the board now in the summer. They've had a pretty hard time so far, but India played very well yesterday.
We've been doing well against them in most forms, but they were pretty happy to take that win. So I think we play them again on Friday. So we'll see if we can level the series. Anyway, Alois, tell us about what happened on this day in history.
Indeed. So it was 1756, and it was the birth of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Can't say I can play any of his pieces, but famous man.
That certainly is famous. Excellent.
And also, another one in I won't tell you when. John Logie Baird. Any idea what he did?
No.
Logie, yeah.
The Logies.
The first television, yes. So the first he did the demonstration of the first television. What year, Jeff?
1955.
1926.
That early?
Yeah, there you go. 1926. So a long time ago. Yeah, it surprised me too. I thought 50s, but no.
Very good. No, it's just the first time we had it in Australia.
Correct. Long time after everyone else.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, Alois, back last week, we asked who uses Snapchat as the PingSkills question of the day. Does anybody use Snapchat?
Well, there are a few. There are a lot of people out there, and we've certainly started using it and getting some good interaction now from you PingSkillers. So great to see. Thank you, guys. So Eugene though said No, I don't use Snapchat, but okay, I'll try it. So there you go. So Eugene's onto us.
Yeah,
And
he is. I've been chatting away with Eugene on Snapchat.
Yep, and Billu said, "Yeah, I've just joined, so that's great." So yeah, so there are a few people out there using Snapchat and finding PingSkills on Snapchat. So get on there, and if you get on there, you can just ask me a question, just using a short video. Let's try it. You get on there, send me a short video with your question. I'll send you one back.
Perfect. Yep. So Snapchat, and our username is PingSkills. Alrighty. That moves us on to the PingSkillers question of the day, which is, what do you do when you lose? So let us know. Jump onto our Facebook page at facebook.com/PingSkills or onto our blog on the PingSkills website, and let us know, what do you do when you lose?
Yes, might be a very, a revealing sort of question, this one.
Yes, certainly. Certainly. All right, because it's Wednesday, Alois, we're discussing the drill of the week. What is it this week?
Yeah, so we're talking today about multi-ball, but in particular, using backspin multi-ball to practice your top spin. And I think this is probably the best use of multi-ball because it's a ball that if you're doing just one ball practice, it's difficult to get enough practice of practicing your top spin against the backspin ball. So multi-ball here, where the feeder is feeding the ball out with some backspin. So just like they're pushing the ball at you, and you're practicing your top spin. So now in 30 seconds, you can get 30, 40, 50 practices of your forehand topspin against backspin. And we know that this is such an important stroke in the game. If you don't have that forehand topspin against backspin, it's difficult to convert the defensive rally into the attacking rally. So let's work really hard at this one. As I said, really important skill to have. And this drill really can help you to improve that skill. So for the top spin ball against the backspin multi-ball, great drill. Everyone should be doing it.
All right, makes a lot of sense, Alois. I will put a link in the show notes to our multi-ball course for anyone who hasn't tried multi-ball yet. Have a look at that, learn how to use it, and as Alois said, try this particular drill where you're putting backspin on the ball. Yeah, good one, Alois. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about, Alois, is the Olympic qualification process. And it's particularly relevant for China because they've got so many good players, yet only 2 are allowed to play in the singles. So what are the rules around this?
Yeah, that's right. So it's just, this is really pertinent to China, probably not so much to many of the other countries. But as you said, Jeff, only 2 players from a country can enter the singles event. So how do they choose those 2 players? Well, firstly, there is a regional qualification process. So each region or each continent has their qualification tournament. So from that, different numbers of players qualify for the direct qualification into the singles event at the Olympics. So in Asia, for example, there are a lot of men can qualify through the qualification process. So from that, say 3 people get into the top 8 from China. Only the top 2 of those players will get their single spots. But players also qualify on their world ranking. So, for example, if the top 2 players, I haven't checked the latest rankings, but let's say, I'm not 100% sure, but say Ma Long and Zhu Xin are number 1 and 2. If they don't finish in the top few players from China in the qualification process, then it becomes complex. So now we've got these 2 players that have qualified through the Asian qualification region. So say Fan Zhendong and Zhang Zhike. So they win and come runner-up in the Asian qualification process. So then we've got Ma Long and Zhu Xin, who are ranked number 1 and 2 in the world. Now, the precedence goes to the 2 players from the Asian qualification process. So now, we've got Zhang Zhike and whoever I said,
Fang
Fan Zhendong. Yep.
Oh,
so Zhang Zhike and Fan Zhendong have qualified in the Asian qualification, and now here we've got the number 1 and 2 in the world, Ma Long and Zhu Xin. So who gets preference? These 2 guys, the qualification process players. But this is the big but. China, the Chinese Olympic Committee, can choose to not accept these 2 entries and put in the top 2 players in the world. So in the end, it really does come down to China Association or the Chinese National Olympic Committee as to who qualifies. So they can basically choose out of those 4 players as to who is going to represent China at the Olympics.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? Because you've got all these rules in place, but then they end up being able to choose because their players are ranked so highly.
Yeah,
but they can only choose in a certain way, though, Alice, I guess, because they have to take it on the basis of those rankings.
Yes, but yeah, so that's correct. But even if they don't want number 1 and 2 and number 3 is in that position, they can also do that because a certain number of players get in on world rankings as well. So they could go down the list to number 10 if they wanted to. They'd be silly to, but they could do it.
Okay, so for the rankings, they can say, like in your example, hey, we don't want Ma Long in there, but we'll let Zhu Xin, who's number 2, behind him go ahead.
Yes, and Fang Bo, who's lower. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Well, yeah, it's a strange process, isn't it? And I guess this problem comes about with only 2 Chinese allowed to play in the singles. It's
it does. And we've discussed this a bit previously, but is it fair? Is it fair that the number 3 player in the world doesn't get to play at the Olympics and doesn't have that opportunity? Or it may actually be the number 1 player in the world doesn't get that opportunity to play at the Olympics.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair. But I guess if you're not from China, then maybe it seems very fair.
That's right. I mean, the theory behind it is that they're trying to spread the opportunities right around the world. So yeah, that's the opportunity. And they were really worried, initially when there were more Chinese allowed, that China dominated the podium as well. Well, they probably do anyway, but they had all 3 players on the podium rather than just the 2. So
yeah,
interesting discussion. Yeah, interesting theories. Yep.
If you've got any thoughts on it, just leave a comment on our blog about this page, about this show. So yeah, go to pingskills.com, click on the blog link, and leave your comment. Love to hear from you. All right, Alois, let's get into the questions. First questions for the week. Are you ready?
I am. I'm ready. It's been awesome. A while, but I think I remember how to do this. Yeah.
Good. All right. First up, we've got Mike D asking a question using the Google Q&A app. So thanks, Mike. He says, hi, Alois and Jeff. I am decent with looping the ball long and short with my backhand, but with my forehand, shorter balls where I have to move and then set up, I end up hitting the ball into the net or off the table. Any suggestions?
Yeah, Mike. So that I find often happens if the ball's shorter on the forehand, players tend to reach out and try to play that topspin. The real key is to move yourself close to the table, get yourself nice and close, and then make the topspin from there. If you reach out, you're going to tend to lose control, and often players will not be able to lift the ball enough, is the main one. But yeah, sometimes you do lift the ball off the end of the table as well. So it's really that movement in and out, making sure that you're getting your body in position first so that you can then make that topspin stroke from closer to the table in particular.
Okay. So it sounds like Mike's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to move and then set up, but maybe he's just not doing that quickly enough.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the key, just being able to read that ball that's coming a little bit shorter and go in and make that position a little bit earlier. That's probably the key.
And this one's a tough one to practice. I guess you need someone with good control to be able to put a ball long and then short for you.
Multi-ball, Jeffrey, multi-ball. So getting the person feeding the multi-ball, and we talked about that earlier today, getting them to feed some long and some just shorter, so it's just going off the end of the table. So really good drill to use. And we in our drill of the week, we talk about just topspin practice against backspin. But yeah, this ball here that you can use with multi-ball as well, longer, shorter, and get some practice moving in and out away from the table as well.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for the question, Mike, and hopefully that helps you out. Next up, Ilya says, I often meet players that have long pips or an anti-spin, and they use that side exclusively when returning serve. So what type of serve can be helpful against these types of players that use the long pips or anti-spin always to return the serve?
Yeah, I like to use a backspin serve, and often even just a long backspin serve. So if they're exclusively using the long pips or the anti, then they're not going to be able to do a lot with it. So by doing a backspin serve and a little bit longer backspin serve, if they push that ball, it's going to come back to you with a little bit of topspin, and then you know that that's a ball that you can attack. They could attack the backspin ball as well, but again, you can see what they're going to do, or you know what they're going to do, and you just need to be ready for that and be able to attack that next. It's actually a good thing for you that they're only using the anti-spin, because then they're not generating their own spin. They're completely at your mercy. So whatever spin you put on it determines what's coming back. So you utilize that. And as I said, I often find the backspin serve, because it converts it to a top spin, then that next ball's easier to attack for you.
Wow, you got me excited now, Alice. I want to play against some long pip players and just serve backspin and then just crunch the ball. You make it sound easy too. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Ilya, get out, give it a go, see how it works for you, and let us know. Great tactic, Alois. All right, next up is a question from Christian. And Christian says, my coach tells me you've made a good forehand topspin and you're happy. You look at the opponent and you're not ready for the next shot. And this is exactly what happens during my matches. And it's the same with my services. So do you have any tips for Christian?
Yeah, this is really crucial, Christian. So firstly, tracking the ball is vital. So if you're watching the ball all the time, then you're going to allow yourself to react to the next ball as well. I often see players do exactly as you do. You might do a great serve and you go, wow, that's really good. And then so it becomes serve and sit and watch and not being mobile. By watching the ball and then reacting, you're giving yourself a much better opportunity to hit that next ball. So you'd need to stay mobile. So the service action needs to be serve, okay, ready, and make sure you're moving a little bit and just being ready to move for that next ball. I often see, as I said, players just serve and sit and watch, or hit a good topspin and sit and admire their shot. The game is it's fluent and it's constant. So you need to be constantly adjusting your position to wherever the ball is. So if I hit the ball over there, then I'm facing the ball, I'm ready, I'm on my toes, you can even bounce a little bit on your toes, and be ready for that next ball.
Okay, interesting. So do you think this is more a mindset or some technical skill you need to learn as well?
Yeah, I think so. Firstly, it can be technical as far as actually being on your on your toes. I mean, when we say on your toes, you're not really like standing up like that, but just getting the weight forward so that you're ready to move. And I find also now getting players to just bounce a little bit between shots. So after you hit the ball, just a little jump. Hit the ball, little jump. Hit the ball, little jump. Gets you active and ready for that next ball as well. And that's really crucial. If you just plonk yourself there and sitting there, it's hard to get yourself into motion. If there's that little movement, then it's easier to stay in motion and react and move to the next ball.
Okay, and when you talk about a little movement, you mean like a real small jump. So you don't want your head going up and up really high and then back down. Have I got that
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, correct. So your head's steady, and down here you're doing just little jumps, just being active and being ready to move. Correct. Yep. So you're definitely not doing this where your head's going up and down all the time.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, Christian, try it. Yep.
Yeah, Jeff. If you watch the best players when they're playing, you'll notice and you'll see that there's that constant adjusting with the feet when they're playing, when they're hitting.
Yep, certainly. All right, Christian, we'll try out those tips and let us know if that improves the next ball for you. Now, Steve says, quite often I'm 2 games in front and then lose the next 3, or I'm 2 games behind, win the next 2 to level at 2-all, and then lose the 5th. Can you help me with some good advice, Alois?
Yeah. So this is purely part of your psychology. It's really important to focus on the next point. So each point is its own little test for you. Once you start to worry about, once you start to think about, okay, I'm 2 games up, the next thought is, okay, I only have to win 1 more, right? You don't win a game, you win a point. So if you focus completely on that next point, then you're 1-0 up. You focus completely on the next point and you're 2-0 up. Okay. If you focus on, okay, I've got to win this next game, what do you focus on? You can't focus on the ball. You can't focus on your tactic for that next point. So really important to just break it right down to the little pieces of the point. So 1 point at a time. And then you can even just think about 1 ball at a time. So you need to be watching and tracking the ball all the time so that you're able to hit that next ball perfectly. Okay. If you start to think about the match or the game, it's just too far ahead. Get right back to this thing here. This is the important thing. Follow this and work on every single point. And then the games take care of themselves. The matches take care of themselves. So the fact that now in your head you have these thoughts of, okay, when I'm 2-0 up, I often go back, get back to 2-all or lose 3-2. You're already way ahead in the future and starting to think about that. Okay, what's your tactic for this point? So you're 2-0 up. It's love all. What's your tactic for this point? What am I going to do? And then focus on that tactic. Focus on the ball. Work hard for that next point.
Very interesting, Alice. I like this. It sounds almost too simple to fix a problem that seems so big, but I guess this really works.
Yeah, I mean it's not easy because naturally your mind wants to wander into the future and start to think about what's going to happen and predict what's going to happen. But just keep reminding yourself, okay, this is where I want to be. I want to be working hard on this next point. What do I need to do?
Yep, and it must work because whenever you hear any sportsman talk about anything, like how are you going to go, they're always like, I just focus on 1 point at a time. That's all you can do, just the here and now. So, I mean, it's the advice everyone gives.
Yeah, that's right. And so we have our sports psychology section on the website. Take a look at that. There's some really useful tips in there that all of you out there will be able to benefit from as well.
Great. All right. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Great question, Steve. Yeah. So as Alois said, it's something you need to practice. So every time you go out to play, you got an opportunity to get better at this skill. So just make sure you're focusing 1 point at a time. All right. Next up is a question from Sachin, who says, we play for 2 hours daily for a year now. But 6 months ago, I started learning basic techniques like push, drives, and loops. And now I'm trying to play an attacking game in practice match. But most of the time, I lose to the people with no form. Guess this can be frustrating, Alois. Do you have any tips for Sachin?
Yeah, this is a really frustrating part of developing, especially as you're starting to learn to play and to develop your strokes. So, we encourage you to start to think about making your top spins and your more attacking strokes. But when you go into competition, your attacking strokes might not be strong enough yet to overcome the push stroke. So you'll find that players that look really awkward and lazy and don't really have much in the way of technique, will be doing this sort of shot and that sort of shot and pushing the ball at you, and you're making a mistake with your attack. So you need to, I suppose, make some decisions about your development in your mind. What are you trying to do in this particular match? Are you trying to really win the match? Is that the sole focus of what you're trying to do? If I was playing Jeff, yes, all I'm going to do is focus on winning. But you need to start to think about your long-term development. And if you don't start to utilize these top spin strokes in a match situation, then you're going to find it's really difficult to keep developing. So sometimes there's a bit of a trade-off. Is it winning that's important, or developing your game that's important? You need to make that choice, and even be that you make a different choice for a different match. So, for example, if you're playing in a team situation and the score is 4 games all, and this is the deciding game, you may focus completely on just winning the match. How am I going to win it? And then you can start thinking tactically and developing your tactical knowledge and tactical ability. But if it's another match where it's not as important to you or to your team, then that's an opportunity to start to really utilize and develop the skills that you're practicing in your game, in your training.
Yeah, and with that, Alois, like as you said, it's important sometimes just to focus on winning and developing your tactical awareness, and that's why we play to win. But you've also got to balance that. You do have to have that developmental stage, because otherwise you're not going to get better. So you can't just be focusing on winning all the time. You need to practice things that will take your game to the next level. And once you get those, you're going to beat these players with no form all the time.
Yeah, that's right. So you will get to the stage where you completely overpower those type of players by developing your top spin strokes. So there will come a time where by developing that type of game, then you will just go bang, and you'll be up there, and they won't have any answers for you because of the way that they play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great question, Sachin. Keep working, keep developing, and trust me, you will start beating those types of players all the time. All right, Alois, that wraps up show 211. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Make sure you visit our website, pingskills.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. If you haven't, we send out tips weekly, which will help your game. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeffrey, and we will see you again tomorrow morning. Now we're on a roll. Let's go, PingSkills.
Bye.